And if that isn't a hot sell for becoming an Ignite Denver speaker, I don't know what is. Which is why I MC, because I get to come out on stage again and again and again. So Heather Nelson is our next speaker. Enough about my vagina. Heather likes to emulate Zoot from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. For those of you that might not know who Zoot, what, do you guys know? Shout it out. Yeah, okay, yeah. She was the queen in the castle, and they were inviting them up and spank me. That's Heather. And her favorite band when she was in high school obviously was Hanson. And her stupid human trick involves her boobs, and you'll have to ask her about that later. So, somebody else didn't fill out the questionnaire. So please, big hand for Heather Nelson.
Any company worth their salt looks for a win-win scenario. The win for the customer, receiving a transformative good or service, and the win for the company, trying to fulfill their mission and vision in a profitable and sustainable way. It's what our economy is built on. It's what gives capitalism a smile. Profit and satisfaction is what we search for. And I actually believed this model until I entered the mental health industry. And it was there that I learned that companies tend to provide a good enough product or service to keep stakeholders off their back and customers mentally satisfied. So what's another solution? Well, I wasn't sure. All I knew is that I saw people around me on the edge of crisis. It sounded a little bit familiar not too long ago. And I realized that 3 faulty business models typically got created from this mentality of a win-win scenario. The first is the win for the company, usually in the form of high profit and little giving back to the community or to the staff. There's too much competition, there's too much instability, you got to keep it close to home. The second is the win for the staff, usually in the form of high premiums to the customer. On Mental Health America's website, it says, unless you're independently wealthy, you will most likely not be able to afford cash pay counseling services. The third win is for the community, usually in the form of reduced rate services, which sounds great until you realize that the median income for a postmaster's licensed counselor is $37,000. Your staff makes up the assembly line. You're a cog in the reel. Keep your head down. Work harder, better, faster, and somehow you'll feel fulfilled in what you do. But that's not what actually happens, is it? It reminds me of Charles Dickens' book, Hard Times, where he critiques the Industrial Revolution, and he talks about the fact that in this world, facts matter, leave creativity behind, and you will be happier because you will be richer. But what about purpose? What about the people that keep the momentum of a company going? What about the staff? And that's when it clicked for me. We need to create a win-win-win with staff front and center. We all want to live out our purpose vocationally, and millennials are a great example of this. It's why we accept underpaying jobs to do what we love, and we work 70 hours a week to make our hobby dreams come true. Companies need to look for a creative way to do this. At my company, we partner with local faith communities who donate space so that we can provide reduced rate counseling services to the community and then also fairly pay our counselors. If you adopted this model where you work, I can almost guarantee that your company will have higher profits, they will last longer, and the community will come back again and again and again. This may sound like a bit of an illusion. How do we actually do this? I've noticed that there's 3 tips to keep in mind to see this transformation happen in your organization creatively. The first starts with leadership. Leadership needs to leave their ego at the door. Amen? A mentor of mine once said when he started companies, he wished he knew that it all comes down to leadership, and ego kills it. The second tip I have for you is that policies and procedures should make sense to a child. Children appreciate creativity, consistency, and congruency. Irrelevant or unclear policies feel like a trick, and they're unsafe. The third is for organizations to leave room for their staff to fail and experiment. That's where innovation comes from. But they also need to hold improvement accountable for that to work. So what if your company adopted this? Oh, the places you'll go. By ego staying at the door, by failure being invited, by accountability happening with your team, your organization can thrive. Purpose consistently calls us home. It's easy to get sidetracked, but it wants to reach out and bring us back. And vocationally, we can get there if we believe in the win-win-win. This all may seem like a bit of an illusion. How could this be real? How could it actually happen where I work? And I think that the first question comes down to, what if your company cared more about you than the bottom line? Thanks a lot.
I aspire to have slides as cool as Heather does. I'm not there yet, I know. Give it time.